Alright, so I'm going to be doing my presentation on the history of gaming consoles. So the first generation of gaming consoles was released in 1972, and among the first ones was the Magnavox Odyssey, and it had a bunch of simple games, as you can see, like just super like rudimentary, like Pac-Man and Alien Invaders, just very simple games. They didn't really look that good. And then the second generation of consoles actually had way more improvements. It actually had a microprocessor in the console. So these consoles included the Atari 2600, which is the most popular one. And the other ones were the Fairchild Channel and the Mattel Intellivision. But the more popular one was the Atari. That's what it looks like. It had the little joystick and the home console that you plugged into the TV. So these next ones, you're gonna be able to tell that they actually, you can kind of sort of tell what stuff is. You can tell what the cars are and the people. This is the third generation. It has the NES, which a lot of people actually owned. This is when it became like a lot more popular. So some of these games you might recognize, such as Contra or Punch Out, or Sonic or something like that on the Sega Master System. Atari did make a console this generation as well, but it wasn't as popular as the Nintendo. It was definitely a competitor, but it was not as popular as the NES system. You can see right there. The fourth generation of consoles started looking a lot better. It was the Super NES and the Sega Genesis, and these ones definitely had a lot more power to be able to have the characters look more detailed. You can see the characters just looked a lot more better. You can actually tell their shapes, and they didn't look more like this. There were still some games that looked like this, and they took advantage of the big file size, and you can make big worlds instead of making more detailed characters. So, two different ways of making the games. This is the SNES. So for the fifth generation of consoles, it's the PlayStation and the N64 were the most popular ones. And this one had a few upgrades, most importantly the geometrical, the 3D kind of landscape. So instead of a lot of games more going like this, a few games still had the 2D layout, but a lot of games started having this 3D layout where you can move in 8 different directions, and it was more freedom than just moving on a 2D platformer game. So this was a new style of games. You can see Zelda and Twisted Metal, Crash Bandicoot. This is PlayStation 1. So the sixth generation of consoles included the Dreamcast, the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the Xbox. So again, you see another leap in generational graphics. These were some of the games that I played when I was younger, so I recognize some of these games because I picked them. Uh, some of them include Jak 2, Kingdom Hearts, Star Wars Battlefront. You have the Zelda Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine, and then this one was really fun. They had a lot of different Lego games, so any of the different Lego games was pretty cool. This is Lego Indiana Jones, I think. And this is a picture of the PlayStation 2. So the seventh generation of consoles had an even larger leap compared to this. Every time you're going to see even a bigger leap in graphical capabilities. So over here, the worlds actually look like much more realistic. On the bottom you can see GTA 5 and Call of Duty. They look much more like real life. This generation had the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, and the Wii. Nintendo still kind of goes with more basic designs, but the gameplay is much more intuitive, and it's always sharper every year. This is the PlayStation 3. So this is the 8th generation of consoles: the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. So another huge graphical leap in design. This time, maybe not so much as between the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3, but you still get a lot of different cool effects, a lot more shading, a lot more pixels to work with. A lot of these consoles can push out 4K as well as 60 frames per second. On the bottom is Spider-Man, as well as Red Dead Redemption. Over here is the Breath of the Wild, which is on the Nintendo Switch. This is actually available mobilely, and you can dock it and play it at home. So it looks pretty nice for the fact that it is a mobile game as well as console game. And you also have a lot of indie games springing up at this time because people enjoy making games, and it's easier to make games as the year goes by. So people can actually make simpler games and import them on the Nintendo Switch and the PS4. And even though they don't look as graphically intensive as those games, they're still fun to play, and they can have a lot of good gameplay if they put the work into it. So these are the pictures of the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4. And the next generation is the 9th generation of consoles, and this is actually where we're at currently, so I have no information after this. This is currently the Xbox Series X and S, as well as the PlayStation 5. So as you can see, even more leaps in generational hardware. The graphics look super crisp and super good. A lot of ray tracing happens here, so if you're swinging by a window or something, you can actually see your reflection in the window and all the shading in the reflection of the window. And as it's moving, you're moving, so it's actively changing. It's not just one shadow in there, one reflection in there. And there's a lot of revisions for games that came out last generation that just look that much better. That's why you see Spider-Man again, they make it look just a lot better. And these are the consoles, the Xboxes in the top left, and then the PlayStation. And that's the end of my presentation. Those are the references.